It's not just an ordinary Tuesday. Welcome to Terrier Tuesdays, the show where you can get to know some of Boston University's best and brightest student athletes.
Welcome to another edition of Terrier Tuesday. My name is Pat Lawler, and joining me today is Lily Burchell, who is a senior captain on the women's tennis team and also the BU Student Athlete Advisory Council president for the upcoming academic year. Lily, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're joining us from Baltimore. Let's start off by telling us about your summer. What have you been up to?
Yeah, so I am from Baltimore, Maryland. That's where I am now. My summer looked a little different, as I'm sure most people's did. I was initially supposed to be interning in Chicago doing marketing and sales, but that was canceled. So I have been home teaching tennis, where I train, and then I've been doing a little bit of work for the athletic department in the development office with some alumni relations and giving day, things like that. So that's been keeping me pretty busy, and then just trying to train and stay in good shape. So when we get back to competing in the fall, I'll be all set.
Great. Now, I heard last year you had the opportunity to intern at Wimbledon. Is that correct? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that was the best experience I could have ever possibly had. It was amazing. I was there for a little over a month. I did the the qualifying tournament leading up to the championships, and then I was there for the duration of the tournament, which was amazing. And I was on the production team, so I was working a lot with the digital media, and then so basically like some taking player photos and then doing Wimbledon's website, updating their videos and their posts on their website and their YouTube page, which was great. And I was one of 3 interns in my department. But it was just amazing because I got to go to some of the matches on center court, and I learned a ton and got to meet a ton of really cool people. So it was really cool. It was definitely an experience. I don't think I'll be able to have anything like that again. I was hoping to go back this summer, but they had to cancel the tournament. So that was a bit of a bummer, but yeah, it was amazing.
That sounds like an incredible opportunity. I'm very jealous.
Yeah.
Sounds an amazing way to spend the summer. So getting back to your team here at BU, you were named captain for the women's tennis team for the second year this year. Last season was very difficult for you. It was canceled about a month before the Patriot League Conference tournament. Team had a good chance to win it and advance to the NCAAs. Tell us a little bit about this year's team and what your goals are.
Yeah, so it was definitely challenging having the season be canceled last year. But I think this year, we didn't lose any of our starters, which is really good because we had some amazing new talent on our team. We had Erica DiBattista, who ended up being ranked this past year after an awesome win against Syracuse. So that was huge. But, a lot of what we were working on last year will just kind of carry over into next year. So I think it's going to be a really strong season. I know it will be modified. It was definitely tough not getting to play any conference play, especially because I think we were, somewhat favorited to win the conference and get a bid into NCAAs. But I think that doesn't change this year, and we still have the same expectations. We've been meeting a bunch as a team to talk about our goals and figure out how everybody's been staying in shape and playing over the summer and training. So I think everybody's pretty anxious to get back. And while we won't have a fall season, we'll still be practicing and training. And then hopefully starting in January or February, we can get back out on court and still keep up with everything that we were working on last year. So it should be exciting. I think it's going to be good.
So for those who aren't familiar with your tennis schedule, it is a bit of an unusual schedule, and there's a fall schedule and a spring schedule. Tell the folks at home who are watching what usually goes on in the spring, and then that has been canceled, and what happens in the fall.
Yeah, so typically, our main season is the spring. We're considered a spring sport. We do have a fall ball season as well. So similar to like a lacrosse, we'll have invitational tournaments in the fall. So a lot of what goes on in the fall tournaments are individual. So they're not team based. So it's not like a head-to-head match. It'll be, we're entered individually and we represent BU, but we don't compete as a team. We compete individually. And so those are considered to be our more warm-up tournaments, and just to have, especially the incoming freshmen get used to playing college matches and just getting the format and everything. And then we end that season usually early November, and then we'll start early January to prepare for our main season, which is where we'll have the dual matches where we'll compete BU versus another team, which is a more typical standard of a college format. So that is what got cut short last year in the spring. We didn't yet get to our conference matches. We were just playing other schools. So we play a lot of the Ivy Leagues. We were on our spring break trip in Miami, and we had been playing some of the schools down there. So that's where we ended last season. I think that's probably where we'll end up picking up this year as well.
Yeah, hopefully it's reversed and the important part of the schedule gets in the spring.
Yes.
So along with you being team captain, you were also elected SAC President for this upcoming academic year. That must have been a big honor for you.
Yeah, I was really excited. I've been attending SAC. I started going to meetings my freshman year. I was a rep my sophomore year, the treasurer my junior year, and this coming year I'll be president. But I was really excited just because I have loved being part of SAC, and I think it's opened up a ton of doors for me and just allowed me to become much more involved in the community as a whole, because I say it often, but I think being an athlete at BU, we're a very close-knit community, and it's easy to get sucked into just being a part of your own team. But being a part of SAC allows you to meet new people and get to know the whole department and not just, what goes on in your little bubble, which is also awesome and important. But I think it's allowed me to reach out and, reach the community more so than I would have just on an individual level. So I think, we'll continue doing that next year. So I'm excited.
Yes, SAC's a great organization. You guys do so much work. Tell us of some of the things that you hope to be working on this year. What's going on with SAC?
Yeah, so we actually just had a meeting this morning to talk about some of our goals and everything going forward. One of the themes that remains consistent that we were working on last year is the topic of mental health. And especially now with everything going on, we're really going to try and provide a lot of resources and take some different approaches with regards to more athletic specific mental health things and some sports psychology topics and things like that, which will be great. We also are aligning a lot of our goals with the Patriot League SAC. So they're focusing on using social media to kind of project your goals and things you're working on. And then some of the pillars that they are emphasizing are student athlete voice and impact. And going along with that is social justice efforts and then voting and civic engagement, which has been great. So we're hoping to do that while also building a strong sense of community with everything going on. Since we cannot be physically together as much as normally we would be, we're going to try and come up with some creative ways that we can still be very much a community while not kind of being physically together. Another thing that's awesome is we added a couple positions to our e-board. We now have a student athlete of color representative on our e-board and an athlete ally representative, which is going to be great because those groups are equally as important, and it'll be really nice to have people who can kind of work with both groups and be a liaison to kind of help us direct more of our efforts towards the efforts to support those groups.
Great. Certainly different challenges this year doing community work, whether it's in person or virtually. I know you'll have your hands full, but I'm sure you'll do a great job with it. What are your plans? It's that time of year again, people coming back to campus. When are you arriving? What's going on with coming back to Boston?
Yeah, so I am planning on moving in on the 28th, which is, I guess, a little bit later. I know a lot of people were anxious to get back earlier. I was in Boston actually for 2 weeks in June, moving out and things like that. So I've been back, but my plans are to stay on campus and move back in the 28th. I believe classes start like the 2nd or 3rd. And so hoping to kind of have all my stuff settled back then. And I think we start practice maybe the following week, so maybe the week of the 7th. But I'm definitely very anxious to get back to campus. I miss Boston. I miss everyone. And I'm excited to get things started again.
Yeah, I think all of us this year, sometimes it's bittersweet when Labor Day rolls around and school starts back up, but I think everyone's really looking forward to get back to some normalcy. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of Terrier Tuesday, Lily. We want you to stay safe and healthy, and we look forward to seeing you back on campus soon.
Thank you, Pat.
Thanks for tuning in to Terrier Tuesdays. Give us a follow on our social media accounts at BU Athletics on Twitter and Instagram for more content.